Hey, problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I'm going to talk functions, identifying functions, sketching the graph of functions, what's the difference between functions. This is for something like an Algebra 2 class, Integrated 3, Trigonometry, Pre-Calculus, something right before calculus class. I break it down into 5 primary functions. Understanding them is really key not only for this class, but for all future math classes, applications in business and science. Really a big piece of science is collecting data and then figuring out what that data is doing by identifying what kind of function it is. The first function we're going to look at is a linear function. That really starts before integrated 1 even. Something like y equals mx plus b. An example would be y equals 3x plus 5. It is a straight line on the xy coordinate plane, and it has a constant increase or decrease. The second function would be an nth power function, y equals x squared, y equals x to the fifth. The base is your unknown variable x, your independent variable x, and then your exponent is a number. It could even be a negative number for an inverse nth power function, but it's going to be a number. The third function is exponential, y equals 2 to the x. So the big difference between nth power and exponential is that your exponent is an independent variable x. So here in an nth power, I have y equals x squared. In an exponential, I have y equals 2 to the x. So my unknown is my exponent. My independent variable is an exponent with a base, that's a number. The fourth function is quadratic, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. As an example, something like y equals 3x squared plus 5x plus 6. That's going to look like a parabola. And then our fifth function, what trigonometry is really all about, is periodic functions, y equals sine of x, or any function that repeats itself. So anything that cycles again and again, like the tides in the ocean, river flows that are snow melt dependent, the path of the earth around the sun. Anything that repeats itself is the periodic function. Okay, here are 5 functions again. The first one, linear, y equals mx plus b. That's going to be a straight line. The second one, nth power, y equals k x to the n, where k is a constant, n is a number. So something as an example, y equals 3x squared. And then that's going to go through the origin, 0, 0, look like a parabola going up. Y equals 3x to the third will be a third quadrant and first quadrant value. Our third function, exponential, y equals ab to the x. As an example, y equals 2 times 3 to the x. And that sketch is going to look a little different. When x is 0, anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. So I plug in a 0 here, I get 1 times 2. And then that means when x is 0, y is 2. So it's going to have a y-intercept of 2, and it's going to go up like that. Example of a quadratic, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c would be y equals 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. That's going to look like a parabola as well. And then lastly, a periodic function, y equals sine of x, is something that repeats itself. So it looks like that. But it could also be a tangent curve, anything that repeats itself over time. So those are our 5 functions. Let me go over how to kind of identify them. And I'm going to be working on this handout right here and how to sketch the graph. So in this handout right here, we have y equals 2x plus 3. Here are my x values. Take those values for x and plug them in here. -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. Then take those and then plug them in for x. So when x is -4, I take -4, I plug it in here. 2 times -4, -8, plus 3 is 5. So I have a value for y. Take -2, plug it in, -2 times 2, -4, plus 3, -1. Oh, let me go back. I did this first one wrong. -8 plus 3 is -5. That was wrong. 0 times 2, 0 plus 3. 2 times 2, 4 plus 3, 7. 8 plus 3, 11. So now that I have a t-bar, I'm able to put those points on the graph. and then graph those. So I go over -4 in my x. In my y, my vertical axis y, I go down -5. There's my first point. My second coordinate, I go over -2, down -1. My third coordinate over 0, up 3. So on the axis, over 2, up 7. I connect all my dots, and I see it's a linear function. So name the function. Number 1 would be linear. Calculate the values of y given these values of x. So I created my t-bar. Part 3, plot the graph on graph paper. See if we could identify these. Y equals -3/5 x plus 1. That's going to be a linear function. Number 3, this is y equals 2/3 x plus 0. Same form as that, still linear. Down here on number 5, say, y equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. That's going to look like a quadratic. Number 7, here I have 0.3 x to the third. My exponent's a number, so it's going to be nth power. Versus down here on number 11, y equals 2 to the x. That's going to be an exponential function. And then anything that repeats itself will be a periodic function. Number 7, you're going to have y equals 0.3 x to the third. You're going to set up a t-bar with the x values they give you. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could use a calculator if you want. I think you'd see this. So I'm going to take that value right there of 0 and plug it in there. 0 cubed is 0, times 0.3 is 0. And I'll graph them as I come up with them. Again, independent variable x, dependent variable y. I go over 0, up 0. Number 1, I plug 1 in here. 1 cubed is 1 times 0.3. Now I'm going to take 2, plug 2 in here. So I have 2. You see that? 2 to the power of 3, 8 times 0.3, 2.4. So this value would be 2.4. So I'm over 2, up 2.4. I'll take 3 and plug 3 in there now. So I'm going to go 3 to the power of 3, 27, times 0.3 is 8.1. I can see where this is going, right? I'm over 3. I'm increasing a whole lot more to 8.1. My last value, 4. Now I'll plug 4 in here. 4 to the power of 3, 64, times 0.3, 19.2. So I'm over 4, up, way up here at 19.2. And I could see I'm increasing. Gotta make my dots bigger. I'm increasing at an increasing rate. So this is an nth power function. If I were to take negative values, negatives cubed would stay negative. So those values would be down here in the third quadrant. So if it's an even exponent, it'll be in the first and the second. Odd exponent will be in the first and the third. Okay, hope that helped. Quick introduction of functions. If you have any questions, post them in the comments.